So the question of the day is, should you use your thumb or your finger? Welcome back to Bullets and Brass, folks. Today we are talking about the differences between the ALS system and the GLS system from Safariland holsters. I've been using the GLS for a while. I really like it. I think it has worked well for me. I do not have any complaints. But, I have a channel about gun stuff, right? You gotta experiment a little bit. So I picked up one of the ALS holsters for my P320. Works really well. In fact, one of the things that I need to say about this up front, if you're just talking what is the most secure fit and feel and protection for your handgun, this is probably the best holster I've ever seen. And they make a version of this with a flap that comes up and over the top even, for a little extra retention. I gotta say, as a protective, retention-based holster, excellent. However, that comes at a cost. When you want to get the gun out, you have to work that lever. You have to. And if you fumble it, you get nothing. If you fumble a GLS holster, your hand is still in place. You kind of just rock it to push the lever in as you pull. So at most you're delayed a tiny fraction of a second. If you fumble this, you're starting over. It can take you a half second to a full second. If you fumble it, it's not quick. Now, obviously if you practice religiously, but awkward positions, anything like that, it is a factor. But more secure from somebody else. So if somebody else is trying to grab your gun, this is going to hold on better. I just think it is better overall fit to the gun. Now, the payoff of the GLS model is that it fits multiple guns. The one I've got for my P320 also fits my HK and supposedly fits a factory Glock. It doesn't fit my P80 build, but that's because of the trigger guard being a little different. Now, there's some adjustment room. You have to play with it a little bit. There's some pieces you can swap out to make it fit better. But you've got that adjustability. This does not. Other things I didn't like, and I'm putting up a better picture of this as well, but right in here, it's kind of guiding the trigger guard into place. But in the process, if your finger is out along the trigger guard but not in the trigger guard, this pushes your finger into the trigger guard just as you're shoving it in there. It could make you pull the trigger. Now, maybe you're a screw up. I'm not saying the holster is at fault for doing it, but it encourages that mistake. You're meant to have your finger here, and there's actually a little finger notch to help guide your finger up out of the way. So if you've got your finger where you really are supposed to, which is up along the frame, you're fine. I am not a fan of that. I wish that was not there. So it does have adjustable retention tension right up here. I didn't play with it much. Mine came out of the box perfect. I really did not have any problems. The only issue I had was just adjusting to the motion of drawing it out versus my GLS, and I never did get as comfortable with it. But on the other hand, I've had my GLS for a year and a half, and I've only had this for a couple days. And I really think the GLS is the slightly less secure, less precise fit, less coverage, easier system. I honestly think the GLS was a attempt to be a generalist holster for people who want retention, as opposed to a police or military specific design. Now, things that this has that the GLS does not, beyond the coverage and better retention. On the back here, you see this extra hole? This whole thing can slide down. So you can have a high ride mount. Now, keep in mind, this is already not a low mount. If you put this on your belt with it down here, it's gonna be up here. It's not gonna be comfortable. But if you're putting this on a drop leg or a drop mount from your belt, and hey, that's a little too low, well, you can raise it up 1.5 inches, 2 inches. there's a lot more coverage on your gun. So if you have a gun that you're trying to protect from wear and tear in the field, not a bad option. However, mine does leave basically plastic residue down my slide, and I have a feeling that over time that is going to wear on both the holster and the finish on the gun. Now, obviously the finish on the gun is harder than the holster, but you know, it is slowly wearing away at it. Have not had any problems. It wipes off, it comes off, but you know, it's something to consider. If you have a gun with a more delicate finish, reconsider. Now, if you are talking a duty gun, if you're talking something with a modern nitron finish, whatever. But if you're somebody with a nice blued high power or, 1911, you might want to consider something else. Don't mess up your finish, right? You've got a collector's piece. Be nice to it. Overall, I think for the money, these are really hard to beat. Quality retention holsters can get very expensive very fast. The ALS line is pretty affordable. This was $60 or $61 at Bass Pro, and it's the same price other places. It's not like Bass Pro was a special deal. And honestly, I think that's worth every penny. What I don't think it is a general purpose open carry day-to-day holster, because it does stick out a little far from your body. And just by nature, this has to be out from the gun. So if you think about it, your gun is here, okay? And then you've got all this space next to it. Makes it real easy to get a good grip, but it's not exactly close to your body. So this is the kind of holster you use in the field, not going to the grocery store. The GLS is not much better. It is a little closer to your body, not significantly. So I still think a good pancake holster with wings, as opposed to having a slot behind it, is your best option for tighter to your body carry. Anyway, take care, have fun, stay safe, and choose your holsters wisely.